So Dwight, how would you handle NPCs seeking revenge?
It's kind of you can do this in a kind of a global way.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like in GURPS, for instance, there's a disadvantage of, like, you have a group of NPCs or a powerful NPC or something seeking revenge.
Yeah, you have enemies.
You have enemies. You actually can have enemies. I think in Vampire the Masquerade, like, you can have allies and you'll create enemies. I kind of like the concept of, so if you go back, like, Joker hates Batman, right? Mm-hmm. Joker normally doesn't mess with anybody but Batman, honestly. And so in a lot of ways, like, you have this NPC seeking revenge. Now, the best one is like the Venture Brothers, because you have, the Monarch seeking revenge against Dr. Venture, and Dr. Venture doesn't even know who he is. And no one, I still don't think they revealed why. Have they? I don't think they revealed why. We're gonna say we haven't. Well, I don't want to ruin it, but if they have revealed why, it's very weird. But they've gone seasons without revealing why. Mm-hmm. They why do you hate him so much? And then they just kind of like
he knows.
Yeah, they move on with it. So you could have a scenario where an NPC, for whatever reason, has it out for one or more of your players. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of a funny, like, there's actually it's actually a trope in The Witcher, the video game, the Witcher 3. There's that guy that keeps trying to fight you, like, in every little... And you keep...
For the Lady of Millbury or something like that.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't even know who this woman is. Like, why are we fighting? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And so you best him at combat, and you don't kill him, and he keeps coming back, and you're like, okay, this is funny and ridiculous. Well, you could do this in a very serious manner, where there is a powerful NPC that has it out for the players. And they could do this in a covert or an overt way, right? So they could be open with it, or they could be closed with it, like underhanded with it. And this is where our episode on the double cross can come into play too, where you have an NPC who's very kind of helpful, but has a reason to want revenge on the players. Because let's say, again, your players being murder hobo-y as they were, ended up killing this guy's nephew, niece, sister, mother, father, friend, whatever.
Or it could have even been oh, hey, while you guys cleared out the dungeon, you took this thing that he needs for his plans.
Right.
But you guys don't know that. You guys long sold it. So
he's
no still going after you, but you have no idea why.
Yeah, or even what it is. Like, well, there was that, and there was like some weird, thing out of the DMG that you sold, because you're like, what does it do? It creates 2 magical stone sphinxes every 12 hours. Like, I don't care about that.
Or you can have a weird thing of like, oh yeah, there's this teapot here that's magical.
That would be
Why
hilarious.
Is it magical? It has some lesser conjuration on it. Okay.
Yeah, you don't know why, but no, someone will buy it from me for $1,000. You're like, sweet.
Yeah.
Sell for $1,000, And so, like, maybe he captures one of you and he's like, tell me where the teapot is. And you're like, the what? Like, what he's talking about? Make a knowledge roll.
Tell me where the Teapot of Vecna is.
You don't know what he's talking about. The Teapot of Vecna. It's hilarious. Anyway, for those not familiar with D&D, there's like the Hand of Vecna.
And the Eye of Vecna, which are evil artifacts.
Yeah, and you could take out your eye or take off your hand and put it on, and hopefully Vecna doesn't take over you. But then if you do not get taken over by Vecna, you can use some of her power.
Yes.
But the Teapot of Vecna, that's hilarious. So anyway, the point is you could have a thing where these guys or gals or whatever are hunting you down because of something minor that you didn't even know you did.
Yep.
And they want revenge, and they're doing everything they can to get revenge, either like purposely, overtly, or just very secretively doing it against you.
Starts out covert and then
gets more and more overt.
You keep foiling their plots unbeknownst to you.
Right.
And then they go overt.
And this is where you could have some fun with it, where it's like, it could just be something as simple as, like as your players are walking down the market, all of a sudden there's an arrow that misses one of you and hits the stand next to you. And you look around, there's this the whole crowd's dispersing and everyone's looking around, but no one sees anything. You're like, okay, that was weird. Mm-hmm. And then maybe a game or 2 sessions later, like, maybe 2 or 3 sessions later, a couple weeks later, it's like, oh, well, it's like, there's this weird guy trying to entice you to come into this cave or something, but you decide not to. And that's part of the plan as well.
Or there could also be like, oh, hey, you guys camped here for the night in either your hole or just in your tents, and then you pop out of the area and there's like bear traps or cow traps or just all around
stuff.
you.
Yeah, you're like, what is this? You could have small minor items always going missing or always moving around because this person's just constantly messing with you guys. I mean, so many things you can do, from just the mundane stupid to literally like, oh, you go to the bar, you go to the tap or whatever it is, right? You go to the place where you can get some drinks, and the next thing you know, like the DM's like, make a fort save, and you're like, because I'm drinking? No. Okay. You make a fort save, but it's like a low DC, and it's like, okay, yeah, your stomach's a little weird. You don't like this drink that much at all. Mm-hmm. Or you fail it. Next thing you know, you like pass out, and then like the cleric's like, what happened? It's like, oh, it's a poison. His drink was poisoned, and you're like, what? Why is his drink poisoned?
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of bring this about. I had a game that we never finished, where I was gonna have you guys being hunted down. You guys kind of got alluded to it, but you guys were being hunted down by. It was the Mage the Ascension game.
Yeah, where we were private eye detectives, and
Yeah.
there was somebody that we didn't help that became a ragdoll.
Right.
That was going to hunt us down in her spirit form, and we have no
kill
idea
you.
why.
Right, exactly. And the reason kind of why. So you could do this as a DM, where you could literally just say, oh yeah, this thing happened years ago. You may or may not remember what happened, but they remember what happened. And so what I was going to have happen to them is there was this woman that they agreed to help, and in the process of investigating everything that happened, she ends up getting killed by the specter that was haunting her. And there's nothing you guys could have done. Like, there was way too powerful for you to deal with it. So, I mean, it wasn't your fault that she died. It was just you took on the job when you realized what was going on. It was like way too late to back out, and she died like as you realized, like, this thing is like uber powerful, So you get the same thing, right? Where your players are investigating something, they go into it like a tavern or a dungeon or something, and then this like almost demigod appears and like just wipes everything out, and you guys barely make it out with your lives. And the family member of one of the people in the town blames you for the incident. And you're like, we don't have that kind of firepower. Like, I can't
Guilty of association.
Yeah, it's like Survivors. It's Survivors Revenge. Like, you survived the plane crash, so obviously you caused the plane crash. It's like, no one caused the plane crash. Like, it just happened.
And then the fun thing you could have is, depending on how the PCs handle him, he might be able to be parlayed into realizing that you guys didn't do it, or we don't know what you're talking about. We did this unintentionally. Yeah. So you might be able to de-escalate it, but you might not be able to.
Or you just, I survived, bro. Like, the only thing I did was I like the rogues, like, I just made my reflex save and ducked under the bar, man. That's the only reason I survived. And
Wizard teleported the whole entire party once we knew what happened.
Or Prismatic Sphere. I mean, at the high levels, Prismatic Sphere went up to save us. But it could just be something as simple as the only person in the room at the time was the rogue, and the rogue cartwheeled back, through a table in front of him and survived the fireball that killed everybody in there, because of their cool ability of uncanny dodge and some other things, right? And the rest of the party wasn't yet in the room, so they get exploded back, as the room, like, they kind of take some damage, but they're all high enough level. I mean, because think about it, like, 4th level fighter has a lot more hit points than a 1st level commoner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, arguably the wizard has less hit points than a 4th level commoner. But I mean, other than that,
Fireball is deadly, but it's not enough to drop even like a level 1 adventuring party.
Yeah.
Depending.
It depends on who cast it, but I mean,
depends on who cast it and how low the roll is. But it's practical that a level 1 adventuring party could survive a fireball if you botch your roll.
It'd be hard. Point is, even then though, a level the point is that you could easily have it that way, where or how many humanoids do you guys fight?
Many.
Those people don't have families.
Mercenary.
You fight a mercenary. You killed a mercenary,
and then his son's trying to find you because you murdered his
right.
father.
Yeah,
and then you can have a fun
six-fingered man type of thing. Yeah,
my name's Amigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepared to die.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know who he is.
You're like, I don't remember killing your father, bro.
You've killed so many people,
which is totally a great excuse, right? Like, dude, I've killed so many people that I don't know who your father was.
You sure it's me?
Oh,
it could be another adventuring party.
Yeah, there's so many murder hobos in the countryside. You sure it was us? Yeah, and hopefully it wasn't. Well, they had a wizard, a fighter, a cleric, and some support guy. And you're like, that's every party, bro. Like, seriously, calm down. You know,
he was wearing full plate just like yours.
It's
this is standard full plate.
He's a dwarven cleric. Of course he's in full plate. Like what? Anyway, point is, you could have some really hilarious things where you could do it funny, but you could go truly deadly with it, especially if the person hunting you down has spent time and energy gathering a party, gathering a group. And this is actually where you could incorporate a kind of like a rival party, where there's a rival party that's kind of constantly following you around or maybe getting in front of you and laying traps, laying things, taking your reputation down. You know what I mean? Like trying to basically claim that they're you. And then they do all these evil things. So when you come in and you're like, oh, what in the world? And you see wanted signs with like your names on them. You're like, well, we were never even here, you know? And so there's cool things you can do with it, either side of it. Yeah. But the fun concept is, I think it'd be really interesting to play around with the concept of an NPC that just, for whatever reason, good, bad, or stupid, has it out for your players and decides to do something good, bad, or stupid against your players. It just depends on what kind of game you're playing. If you're playing more of a fun, like, you know, fun Discworld type of game, then it could be hilarious what the person's trying to do to you. But if you're playing something more serious, then obviously I would have the consequences more serious. And the fun part is you could have them literally rise to the statute of the big bad, and they've been doing a bunch of stuff against the players this entire time. And this is kind of the concept, and we'll just end with this, but this is kind of the concept of like, I didn't like how they did it, but anyway, the Sherlock television series with Cumberbatch, right?
Cumberbatch, yeah.
Whatever, he's British, wherever you say that name. Anyway, Benedict, we'll agree on that one. Where he, all of the crimes that had been committed in the show all get linked back up to Moriarty.
Yes.
I think they should have had Moriarty as a lot older in that show than he was. But the point was, you had this evil genius going against a good genius. And they kind of did that on the books as well. I don't know what you want to call them. They were all done in newspapers, basically, over time. So the shorts that were all kind of strung together of Sherlock Holmes. Really good stuff if you haven't read them all. But at the end of the day, like, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle just kind of said, I'm going to create this Moriarty character, and he's going to be behind a good chunk, and not all, but I mean, most of the really nasty ones that Sherlock had to face. And so you could do something like that, where this guy wants revenge against you, and he's been sending party after party after party. He's been sending you invites. It's like, have you heard about this dungeon? Like, he's literally, like, every hook you've ever gotten was because of this guy, and every hook he's given you, he was trying to get you to get killed, or you know, something like that. Because that could be a really fun, like, reveal at the very end of the campaign. Like, I've been trying to kill you guys for, you know, years, and just kind of relay some of the things that he's done, and especially if you had some of these weird incidents that might stick out, like, you know, remember in the market when you almost got hit by that arrow? Yeah, that was me. And
remember
like,
all the cow traps around your base?
What?
That was me.
That was me. And you're like, what? Hold up. Remember when you got that weird note to go see so-and-so and they didn't quite know who you were, but you went ahead and did the adventure anyway and you went into that weird dungeon? Yeah, that was me. And you're like, what in the world? So that could be a really fun, like, hilarious reveal at the end of a long campaign. So anyway, there's like I don't know how many ideas we just gave you to do some of this, but have some fun with an NPC wanting to have revenge on your characters, and we'll see you next time.